I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan. Your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour. Take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder. Work until you're prouder. And f*** all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown.
All right, y'all, you know what time it is. It's episode 84, Phumblepodcast, all right? I got one of my boys here. He drove all the way here from the Bay Area. He had to leave the house at like 6 a.m. to get here, so I appreciate you. I want to touch base about something as a segue into this. It's no surprise or no secret, really, what's been going on in Iran. It's both of our motherlands. I was there till the age of 7 before I left, and I haven't been back since. But I want to. And my guest today, he's going to talk about his experience with it, and then we're going to segue into talking about him. But keep sharing because it's working, guys. Thank you to everyone, all the non-Iranians who are sharing this stuff because it's actually working. The major news agencies are listening. They're tag all of them on all of your posts that you reshare. And right now, if you go to my Instagram, Pej the Maniac, it's actually on all my social media outlets, but I'm usually posting on Instagram. You can see that in my bio, I have a link to Amnesty International, and it takes you about 10 seconds to sign that thing. And what it does, it pushes for the UN to vilify and condemn this murderous regime for doing what they're doing to innocent kids, not even adults, kids. They're killing 16-year-old girls for singing. So. And I have a new series that I'm sharing, like normal things that you do in the States and in the West and in free countries in general that gets you arrested and killed in Iran. So that's all I want to say about that. And then we can segue into my guest, who I appreciate. He's driven far to be here in person. You all know most of my episodes are right now over the net or Zoom, but the special ones come through to my crib. I give you actor, filmmaker, entrepreneur, Tanin. Thanks for joining, bro.
Hey, Pej, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, bro. I love it. Show them your ink because that's pretty fire what you got on your arm right there.
Yeah. I got my grandpa's name. Got a friend who passed away about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
His name on my inner arm.
Yeah.
It's a real interesting thing. What did you say the reason was you brought it up?
It's because
first thing.
Yeah, because right there, guys. That first of all, your friend is watching over you, man. May he rest in peace.
Cheers.
And your grandfather's name. That's in Farsi. Is written on his arm there. Okay, that's the Iranian language for people who don't know. We go by Iranian and Persian because we're sneaky like that. but a simple tattoo, a simple ink, all right, will get you arrested in Iran. I just wanted to mention that, okay? That's why I talked about it. I got an ink. I posted it yesterday on my TikTok and Instagram.
Right, I seen that.
Yeah, and it was just to share. Like, it's a series I'm starting because I'm trying to bring more attention to this shit, man. It's for people who aren't from that part of the world and are our mutual friends. Just want to paint a clear picture of what's really going on there. Okay. I'm not just in my bubble about this. Like, it's not just because I'm Persian. If you all remember, I was super vocal about Black Lives Matter after George Floyd's situation. I love human rights as most normal humans do. But I just wanted to mention that Tannins Inc., unfortunately, in Iran would get him in trouble, is my point. So with that said, beautiful artwork and beautiful purpose behind it. So that's what's up.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's real interesting because the more you talk about it, the more I get to glean into your perspective and what you're thinking about it. And I think also what I hear or what I feel when Pejman talks is like we do have a really big privilege on what we can do here, and there are different confines and constrictions and things that you get tied up in other societies and other cultures where governments, regimes, where you can't really stand up straight and be, who you want to be. You got to hide. And it's real interesting because it kind of takes me back to my own relations to tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for several years, I wore long sleeves to not bring shame to my parents, or not show them to anyone. Now, mind you, everything I have inked on me is people who've passed away,
Yeah.
And when I was growing up in the States, that was a way to pay homage. That was a way to vicariously have them still live through you.
Mm-hmm.
And, at the time, and even now, I get offended and I feel like, oh, well, why would my parents judge me so much? Or why would their friends judge me so much? Now, mind you, this is circa, a decade ago. Today, tattoos have a different culture. Everyone is, has a star or a cloud or like the world has changed.
Yeah.
But if you go pre-2010, that wasn't the world, and it wasn't accepted the way it is now. It's beautiful to see the way that it's accepted now. You're not deemed as a criminal. You're not deemed as someone who's untrustworthy. And I think that that's a beautiful thing.
It is.
And to be able to have that freedom here is great. And it's something that if we don't really monitor it, we can easily take it for granted. I think with me, I don't really think about it anymore because I got all my tattoos before I was 20.
Mm-hmm.
I started maybe 15, stopped at 19 because I felt like there was a fad going on. So I kind of wanted to taper off.
Mm-hmm.
I think that way about a lot of things.
Yeah.
When there's a trend in something, I try to put my energy and my time elsewhere to learn about something else because I feel like when things get concentrated, it loses its essence or can.
I can 1,000% agree with that. I think first of all, ink is just art, and it's another way of expressing yourself. And ultimately, the adage is your body, your choice. Man, woman, anything, right? Anyone in between. It's your body, your choice. Again, big issue in Iran because here in America, though there's a lot of judgment out there, right? Everybody has an opinion. That's a cultural thing, but unfortunately in Iran, that it's beyond that. It's an actual punishable crime. Like it's laughable to even talk about, right? It's
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It's like, really, dude? Like it's my body. What do you? And by the way, this IR of Iran, it's not of Iran. It's versus Iran right now. But unfortunately, they've even put a taint on the religion of Islam because it's not even Islam, right? It's not even about that. It's about control. And Muslims throughout Iran right now are done with this thing, are done with this government because it's actually a dictatorship. And it's masked itself as Islamic Republic. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not Islam at all. Okay, and neither of us are Muslim, for the record. But we have a lot of friends.
But even if we were,
Yeah.
there's no problem with that. Like the idea is I think you're mentioning the element of it's really good to show that something's going on that's covering something else.
That's right.
Right. It's not genuinely.
It's a wool.
This spiritual thing.
Yeah.
That's not what it is.
Right.
it's a smokescreen. It's something that's not valid. And I think it's really important that there is no hate being, and there's no rejection towards any religions
Exactly.
or any followers of God. It's more so that this is being cloaked as this is God's will,
Yeah.
but it's not. It's more so inhumane and just irrational.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even think of any more adjectives. It's just like I said, it's asinine. It's ridiculous, really.
It is, and to button this issue up, because I didn't want this whole podcast to be about this. It was just to share with the world that this is bigger than just one country right now. It's actually a worldwide issue, right? Women's rights is a worldwide issue. Human rights is a worldwide issue.
Absolutely.
So, with that said, I want to talk about your experience growing up in the Bay. You said you were born in the Bay. What part of the Bay were you born at?
I was born in Oakland, California.
Oaktown, Oakland.
Yeah, the town. Center of Oakland, to be specific, downtown Oakland.
That's what's up.
But I was raised and grew up in Berkeley, California, Central, North Side, South Side, all over.
Neighboring cities, by the way, Oakland and Berkeley.
Yes. Yes.
When the signs turn brown, it's Berkeley. When the signs turn green, it's Oakland. That's what I learned. Did you know that?
Yeah, they did. They did change the colors recently. Well, not recently. I want to say like several years ago.
Right.
But yeah.
We have some mutual friends out in that live out in Berkeley, and you can literally just be walking down the sidewalk, and you notice like all the street signs are brown. And then all of a sudden they switch to green like next street over. That's when you know you're in Oakland. So that's how close these cities are. And man, I love the Bay Area people. I love my family out there, friends. How was the experience growing up in Oakland and Berkeley?
The experience was amazing, man.
Yeah.
It really formed me to who I am. You know, to put it. I wanted to close off like what you were saying, to piggyback more so, not even close off, but you know, this is a real special time, and thanks for your love and shedding life on the Bay. You know, this is East Bay Excellent meets the Holy Sacrament. You know, like we're doing it. This is for real.
I don't know how holy I am, but yeah.
You know. So, what were you asking?
I was just saying, what was your experience like growing up in Oakland, like Oakland, Berkeley area, and
man, Berkeley is a beautiful place. It's a very small town. I don't know the exact population at the present time, but it's a very small place to where people of different economic backgrounds, different walks of life, all brush shoulders essentially under the same cloud. Yeah. And it's a place where, you know, it's not black and white. There's a lot of shades of silver and gunmetal gray, and you know, it's a place that I believe formed me to who I am today. Very, very progressive thinking, very involved in a lot of what's the best way to put it?
Proactive, maybe?
Yeah, I think I already said it, but more so just like, you know, it's a center of progressive thoughts.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can put it. And those progressive thoughts, you know, back to it.
Yeah.
East Bay excellence.
Cal Berkeley too, man, because I think
go.
it's very diverse out there, right? That's one of the things. Sacramento also, very diverse cities with people from all over the world who've moved. I mean, Cali in general, but yeah, it's just, and it's beautiful because it opens one's mind as to like really what's important. You know what I mean? Like what is really like the ideas we have when we're in a segmented area, like a segmented meaning like demographically, like it's a segmented part, like the Midwest or like when you hit the southern states, it's more, you know, segmented, right? You become less and less
Unfortunately.
diverse.
Unfortunately.
Well, also,
big unfortunately. Yeah.
But it's changing too, man. I'm starting to see
Yeah.
like Austin, Texas right now. It's become like a little melting pot.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
I have a buddy of mine just moved out there. Seems like it's a real trending spot. Like it's that's what I hear.
Yeah.
I hope that I hear good things also about Dallas and Houston and the major cities.
Right, major
I hope
cities.
that other parts in other states, other cities, and other states also,
Yeah.
become integrated and accept each other. And it's okay to not look different. You know what I mean? To look different. It's
Yeah.
okay to look different. You don't. I feel like there's a lot of pack mentality, and as a comfort thing, I think we gravitate to those who look like us.
Yeah.
But you're looking at a product of, I'm somebody who went to a public school of 3,000, and I was the only 100% Persian kid.
There you go.
And I didn't have a clique. I didn't have a pod. I didn't have like a group I could kind of, float into. For all anybody knew, I'm Tongan, I'm Mexican. They don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm Puerto Rican. So like the idea is, I always had a respect for, say, the alpha or the leader of that group, and we mutually knew each other. So lunchtimes would just be, go to the black community, say what's up, to who I knew there. Go to the Asian community, same thing. Indian community, same thing. And keep it going. I didn't. My identity is a collection of nuggets of all these beautiful people and beautiful cultures. I can't claim, one thing, one singular thing.
And it's important to remember what everybody in this world are before they're any one race or one culture or one religion. It's easy though. It's easy. Everybody's human, man. We're all human. And when we start thinking like that, it's a lot more beautiful to just be around other people, man. It's a lot more beautiful to just because you turn on your learning cap, right? You turn on your thinking mind and like starting to actually wanting to learn about different people. Forget where they're from. Who cares where they're from? That's the point, right? In fact, it's like, listen, this is not supposed to be like, it's not even Sunday. Like we're not preaching today. You know what I mean? It's we're just talking love, because that's all it's about. It's one human love, man. The world, and listen, I credit, like, and I know you were talking about earlier that you stay away from trends as much as you, when you feel like it's losing its essence, and I agree with that. Personally, I agree with that, but something about social media that I'm learning, because I'm on it all the time for my business, for my content that I post daily. What I'm learning is it's become this virtual community of love. Like all the bullshit starts to get filtered out, like all the negativity and all that. People don't fuck with that. Like they're just like, all right, cool. We're not going to talk to you, right? Like we're not gonna give you the energy, right? So the energy starts to get, like, everybody just wants unity. Everybody just wants to like learn from each other, right? And it's taken this life of its own, like online, which is beautiful. And in my personal opinion, and weigh in on this, I want to hear your thoughts. But in my personal opinion, I think social media is going to save the world. I think social media is eventually going to expose the truth, like what the reality is, and then all these wolves that people with corrupt minds and governments, right? People are, I believe people have good in them. All people have good in them. Whatever bad that comes is from taught behavior or jaded behavior, in my opinion. You can disagree, and I would if you do. And I just want to hear your thoughts on that. What do you think?
So the social media part about it, I don't think I'm not as thoroughly enough aware with how it works to be able to know, like, if this can be, that cavalier of change and kind of angle things in that direction. I definitely see that the information is going to definitely propel something to happen.
Yeah.
Kind of like Pac said, what was it? He said, I'm not going to change the world, but I'll be the spark that will change the world.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that if it's not the pillar, it's going to be definitely, one of the main branches.
Absolutely.
Of that tree.
Yeah. And even And the fact that some governments, including government of Iran, they're trying to block the internet. That's how much power it has, because they know the internet is going to expose the real agenda here, and they're trying to block it. But even that's failing, because thanks to people like Elon Musk, right, and ways to go around it, people are still able to send videos and communicate from Iran to the rest of the world what's really going on. And to me, you got to go through the ugly. And I think with every invention we get as in humanity, we've gone through the ugly side first before we find its real value. You know what I mean? Social media is going through that right now, right? And I feel like it's pretty new, right? Relatively speaking, right? Like the whole idea of internet is pretty new, but like social media specifically, it's such a modern thing. TikTok and Instagram and all that, like Twitter, like it's all in relation to human evolution. It's such a baby, you know, and it's going to go through its mistakes, right? And one thing humanity does, unfortunately, is we try to milk it for in a selfish way at first, right? We start to think about, what can it do for me? What can it do for me? Like we immediately want to pull things to help us individually. And then we start to really see what it's really for, right? Money was like that, right? I mean, money's still like that to a degree, but if anything that we create, eventually the pure side is what's left. That's what I meant by it's filtering out all the bullshit. Like even within itself, like social media is like, because people have the power behind it. That's the beauty of it, is humanity is behind it. It's not an organization controlling it. You know, they try, but they can't, because it's so pure. It's yours, it's mine, it's our neighbors, it's whoever. Everybody has their opinions, but eventually there's a bigger life that takes over, and it's about, okay, what is all of this really about? And it's about bringing people together. And when we really simplify it to that, everything else just kind of fades away, and what's left is love. And that's what I love about it. And Pac said it, and Pac was around, you know, his life was taken, obviously, but you know, he went before the internet really took over, right? Like he was on the AOL side of things, you know, like
well before
yeah. Even AIM, yeah. Like what year was it? 95 he got?
Roughly, I want to say 96.
96, yeah.
Don't quote me on that.
But
I'm pretty sure it was 96.
Yeah, Pac enthusiasts, put it down in the comment. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing it on the TV. It was all over the news. My grandparents, who God bless their spirits, they were still around. They were living in Oakland at the time, and I remember it came on the KTVU, Cron 4, everything we have over there.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know the very verbatim, but it was something to the effect. It was an MTV journalist that was interviewing him, and it said something like, I'm not going to change the world, but I will guarantee you I will be the spark to the brain that will change the world.
Yeah. And he was. And I mean, it is, man. It's beautiful, man. And you know, like we got a lot of great minds that have come and gone that have alluded to that same thing. Pac, you know, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. That's just talking about the States. We're not even talking about internationally, right? Like there's a lot, you know, Mother Teresa. Have you ever been, you lived outside of the U.S. too, right?
Yeah. I've lived in England.
Yeah, okay.
I've traveled a lot. So I've seen a lot of places. Italy, Spain, Israel. I mean, you name it.
So that's cool.
Australia,
because,
Canada.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
And like, so that's a whole perspective shift of its own, I would say, because you probably like experience, because life out there in Europe and Middle East and Israel and all that, it's like what was that like? How was that for you? Like how long, like how was that as far as like your experience, like what you thought you knew, and then you go into these cultures and you're like, oh, like what is it really about? Like how did all that shape your perspective in life?
Well, yeah, I think the key word is perspective. You know, it kind of reminded me of something I had written about perspective. I think that division comes with disagreement, and people are scared to disagree.
Yeah.
I really think that disagreeing provides perspective. That's,
Yeah.
that's really what's happening.
Yeah.
But we're so like quick to have all these like sure conclusions in our head that we hold with conviction, and we don't and we operate off of those, and it just divides us more. And back to the human element of what you were saying is being human, displaying that transparency, feeling that, being in a room, the energy is different. I could have did this on a Zoom.
Right.
You could have did this on a Zoom. We could have called each other. We could have texted each other.
Yeah.
Feeling each other's auras and being in an environment where it transcends any other communication.
Oh man, yeah.
Right? And color me human.
There you go.
Color me human.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be this. I don't want to be this type of person, that type of person. I'm a human first.
That's it.
Before anything. And you mentioned Martin Luther King, and to keep piggybacking on that is, you mentioned Martin Luther King. That's a really good one. And again, I don't know this verbatim, but I do remember this because Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, like a lot of these leaders of the free world, this is what was taught to me as a child. This was the meat in the burger of like what I learned. So, you know, what is it? One day you're not going to be judged by the color of your skin, but the content of your character, what's internal, how you treat someone else.
Yes.
Right. Yes. So like, I have a dream that one day my child will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
Man.
How you treat someone else, right? What you communicate on, what respect there is, what reverence there is. So I think that's really big because we're in a time where we're so quick to just be in a conclusion of what we saw on the TV or what they say in this other world or what my friend said or how my wife feels or how my dad feels. What do you feel like? You know, what about that focus of what do you feel like? It's so much division that it's like it's nuts because you have prejudice and racism within the same groups. Even in our community, if there is a Persian man with a darker complexion, he's immediately judged. Same in the Filipino community, same in the Korean community, same in the Black community. Like it's like, why is this of relevance? I mean, we know we can go back historically, but realistically in this present day, like, have we not transcended this? Like, and I don't want to get super political, but it is something that I think that needs to be talked on, because if you have a lot of people coming online talking about, oh, well, like, especially with this movement, it's horrible what's going on. Mm-hmm. We want to gather as many people as we can to be in solidarity, push us forward. Mm-hmm. I'm a strong believer in that. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go to every activism thing. I'm not going to go to everything. I'm not going to make every post I have. I'm not going to talk about this to everyone, right? Mm-hmm. Not everyone has the capacity to talk about this, right? Mm-hmm. But I do know one thing. You can't alter what you've done and display it to something you weren't really about now just because your homeland is under fire, right? Mm-hmm. Your perspective is different. Mm-hmm. You're born there, you live there, your relatives are there right now. Mm-hmm. It's a whole nother perspective. Mm-hmm. But these cats coming on the internet talking about, we stood with BLM, we stood with this, no, you didn't. Like, now you're saying that because you need all the help you can get, right?
Oh, I got you.
So I think that there needs to be a closer magnification on this. Like, we want support, but it can't be blind.
Yeah.
Like it can't be blind. You have to know, you have to really feel this and really stand by this. Are you doing it because your friends are doing it
Yeah.
and because it's trending?
Oh my
Or
God.
are you doing it because you genuinely feel that way? You feel it in your core. Because if you don't sell it to me, right? If my neighbor has a BLM and we stand with Ukraine, when I go outside, that's not really what she's about. You're doing that because you're in a cul-de-sac that the other neighbor is doing it and you fear social judgment, which is something we all fear. But you just miss me with all that. Like, you got to really want it. And that goes for anybody's hardship, any country's hardship. What happened in Ukraine is horrible. What people forget, police brutality has been going on in the States since well before Rodney King. Oscar Grant is really what set it off. But my friend that's on my arm, he died because of police brutality. I never spoke about this on camera.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk about it now, but he died because of police brutality. Now, mind you, it wasn't till a year after that Oscar Grant passed away. And now it's like, oh, police brutality, this is horrible. It is. But are you just doing it because someone else is doing it? Are you an AirPod, Apple Watch, like Tesla? Are you this?
Yeah.
It's okay if you're not.
Yeah.
Like, no judgment.
Yes.
But don't be a sheep. It's okay if your AirPods are not really AirPods and they're the Amazon ones. That's all right. I'm not judging you, but don't sell me that Tim Cook certified this when he didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can really unpack it, but the whole idea is we need all the help we can. All the other movements need all the help we can get. But I believe that there is a lack of education. There's a lack of distributing it. And like you said, social media is that platform for that and can really be the catalyst of a change. My whole thing is really believe it, really feel it in your core, because, you know, with the lollipop stuff, like, which is really saturated on the web, because you don't know, like, and it's not, you don't have to declare and be like, hey, well, do you know I have relatives that live there? Do you know I live there too? You don't have to do that. That's not addressing that. That's what necessary for you to do. But the same sense is kind of like, there's a difference between the 18-year-old girl who's doing it because she feels some type of shame from her parents. She doesn't know that her parents were like, she doesn't know what it felt like for them to be kicked out of their country. She doesn't know what it's like to have people there. She wasn't born there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I wasn't born there. Right? I just know the oppression my parents felt. Right? And I know how it shaped my identity now. Right? But in the same light, I believe that it's very easy to use all this as a distraction from our own shortcomings and how far we want to go. And it also, it's like, we may not fully believe in it. You know, if you don't fully believe in it, don't come on here. I believe in it, but I can't sacrifice my whole life to just put a pause and do this because someone else is telling me to.
No,
and then
yeah.
if I don't do it, well, shame on you.
No.
You know?
It's not about that, man. It's, man, listen. Well, you just, like, that whole explanation of how you just broke it down. It's all facts, man. It's all like, I agree with that. But here's where I want to paint a picture, and maybe you can be agreeing with this part. Everything that you said about people who are just doing it because it's a fad, or it's what's happening on the web, or what's quote unquote popular, as sad as it is to say that. Like, it's not popular to talk about people dying in a country that's just being killed for showing hair. But that shouldn't be popular. It should be the topic, but the topic that's shared to put pressure on them. Because what's the point? Is the point, like you said, is the point to just do your part so people don't look at you weird or don't say, what are you not doing? What are you, like, why are you not? It's not about that at all, right? It doesn't matter if you're Persian or not. It doesn't matter if you're Ukrainian or not. It doesn't matter, if you're black or not, right? It's not about your race. That's the whole point here. It's about what are we first? We keep talking about this. We're all human beings, man.
Yes.
And as human beings, our neighboring, Iran's neighboring country, Afghanistan, has been going through hell for decades, and it's no secret. It's a problem that's worldwide. Okay, in the States here, and thank you for sharing about the truth about what happened to your buddy, your friend that was taken away because of police brutality. And there is a way to get in front of all these things, but it takes what? It takes research. It takes education, like you said. And I feel for people who are just doing it to do it, all they got to do is just start research more, right? I feel that people have good in them. Like, everybody has good in them, and everybody are also dealing with their lives, right? Life is not supposed to be easy. Life comes at you fast, right? Life comes at you hard. So, but all of that, like the whole thing about, if you don't believe it, don't come at me with it. It takes time. It takes time for people to wake up. It takes time for people to
resonate.
It takes time. I think human nature is, again, fear, right? Fear it tries to control so much of what common sense tells us to do, right? Common sense, if I see a guy getting attacked right there, I don't care if he's black, white, or something else. I'm going to try to go and help him, because that's the common sense thing to do. It's fear of judgment. It's fear of overthinking. Like, when you start overthinking, it's because of fear. All of that is what stops us from doing the right thing. Every time you've made the mistake of not researching something or ignoring a post that is garnering a lot of attention or not, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're looking at and you decide to go past it for whatever reason, it's either because you're fearing time, you're fearing like you don't have time, or you're fearing like you don't have the energy, or you're fearing like you don't have the interest, right? It's all of it comes from fear, in my opinion. And I think the people who are doing things just to do things, to me personally, it doesn't bother me as much if they're putting out the message, even if they don't believe in it. Not just for Iran, for Ukraine, for anywhere or any issue anywhere that's against human rights. Do it, because there's two things happening. One, social media is a conglomerate that's attracting the attention of the bigger names that have the power to actually make change by just tweeting something. I'm talking about governments that are for the people. I'm talking about presidents. I'm talking about leaders that are for the people, like Canada right now. Kudos to Canada and their entire government right now for stepping up and doing the right thing. Okay? They're not thinking about it. They're not thinking about how much money is this going to cost us. They're not thinking about, you know what I mean? The minute you start thinking about those things, all right? And it's everyone does it. I do it, right? We all have this fear of judgment. That's the smallest one, right? But it leads to bigger mistakes. The minute you stop caring about what other people think and what it looks like, try it out. Just stop thinking with fear and just think with what makes sense. What's the right thing? And the right thing usually is a harder thing to do, by the way. The right thing is usually the thing that makes you uncomfortable. The right thing is usually the thing that makes you sweat a little bit, because it's a fear telling you not to do it. Again, this is my own life experience that I'm sharing here, but do you agree that fear has a lot to do with a lot of this shit?
Oh yeah, I mean, fear has major control over a lot of stuff,
which is not even real, by the way.
Yeah, and it's something that unfortunately, I definitely have seen a lot of people operate from.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they're aware of it. I think that the idea of feeling like you're doing the right thing, like, is this objectively the right thing to do?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is a great thing. In the same light, you know, let's use morality in a good way here. You know, not this ridiculous morality.
Yeah, that it's
BS that's
another
going on.
wool, another
Yeah.
wool.
So like, we're also assuming that someone else has been raised with the same standards that we were raised with, right? Or that they have the same moral compass that we do, right? And if it's not that deep or not that extreme, just like I said, objectively the right decision, right?
Yep.
I think that it takes someone to really need to be centered in them and in their lifestyle and in what they're doing to be able to go to city center and protest. You know, you got to really be centered in what you have going on. It's more than just like rescheduling your meetings or not going into work today.
Yep.
It's like you have to really be centered in what you're doing and have clarity. And I think that it's a very challenging thing as humans for us to navigate uncertainty.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's I think it's a forever learning journey. And like personally, I could say it's hard. I think murdering people is bad no matter what. And I'm not a saint. I'm guilty of giving into music that glorifies it, giving into movies that glorify it, reading news articles that glorify it. Murdering people is inhumane. It's bad. It's not a good thing. My whole thing is it's very hard for me to focus on all the murders that are going on.
Of course.
It's very hard. Like just last week, I went to a very close relative's house. You know, I'm like, why are they scrubbing, you know, the sidewalk in front of your porch? She's like, oh, 2 kids got killed the other day. In my own community, in the city I was born in. Damn. You got the whole CSI crew like I'm watching a television series right in front of her porch. I've dealt with death in different ways myself, but I can't even imagine her living there. So, yes, you can't just close the garage and mass exterminate people. Like we're not going to let that slide ever. It takes a different strength to be able to touch on all of it. You know, to literally touch on all of it and be involved in all of it. And I give more power and more momentum to those who are doing it, who are actively doing it. Because I think those are the leaders, those are the people we need.
But listen, I would say, and I'll use this analogy, man. We can learn a lot from animals because everyone has seen this. You see a piece of bread, right? Like on the ground, but it's floating, right? It's floating. Why is it floating? You got 1,000 ants collectively lifting this thing that one ant could never lift, right? But every time, that's how they eat. That's literally how they eat, by thinking about each other. They think about it as a united front, as a team. Why am I saying that? Why do birds always fly together? Right? Just think about all this. Why do
flocks?
They're flocks. Why do wolves walk around in packs? Right? Because they know that if they're by themselves, the lion is going to destroy them. But as a group, they have a chance. And that's all we're talking about, man. Humanity is an animal at the end of the day. We're just another, we have the ability to make decisions. That's why they put us at the top of the food chain. But we also have the ability to choose, right? But the basic instincts is to be together. The basic instincts is as babies, as when we are as pure as can be, right? I teach kids. I have the privilege of teaching kids as a music teacher. And I see it. Kindergartners, as soon as I play a piece of music, the first thing they want to do is hold hands. The first thing they want to do, they want to hold hands and make a circle. No one told them to do that. That's an instinct. We were all like that at one point, is what I'm saying. And we tend to forget that because of fear. We tend to forget that because we let life and life experiences make it blurry as to what is the common sense thing here. Go to any festival, go to anything that is a community. You'll feel a hell of a lot better at the end than you did before. It happens every time. Because we all yearn for love, man. We all yearn for togetherness. We might not always say it. And to touch on the point that people who are protesting is beautiful. But why is it working? Because they're together. They're doing it in the group. They're the same as the flock of birds. They're the same as the pack of wolves. Now, wolves has a negative connotation to it because we associate wolves with negativity and corruption, and like the government of Iran and Russia right now. Unfortunately, yeah. We look at
wolves
them.
Are awesome.
Wolves are awesome,
it's
man.
So unfortunate.
Yeah. Don't be
your idea.
Don't be wolfist. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't be wolfist, man. They're trying to survive. And yes, there is the hunter and there's a prey and I don't even know how to say it because I wasn't born here. But we see the hunting and happen. It's hard to watch, right? But as humans, we see that we don't like it. But guess what? Right now we have hunters in human form. It's happening right now. Okay, and they don't even want to eat. It's for a much worse reason. So the point I'm making at the end of the day, because I don't want to let this go on more than it needs to, because the real point is love and togetherness and what's the right thing to do. And whatever you do, you don't have to go to the protests. Him and I right now, we're sitting here, okay? There are protests happening right now all up and down California. There's no judgment, okay? Me and Tanin talking about this is us putting our way. This is us showing it, and this is what I'm saying. Social media is a way to put light on important topics. It's a tool. That's all it is. It's a tool.
Yeah.
And it can be used beautifully, or it can be used to kill and harm. And unfortunately, we've seen that too. But again, with time, all of the bullshit and all of the negative ways of using this tool is starting to filter out. Because majority want what we're talking about. Majority want love and togetherness. And the ones that don't, it again comes from jadedness, if that's a word. It comes from being taught to hate, being taught to be sectionalized. None of that is real. What's real is those kids holding hands and wanting to be in a circle. That's what we all were and are still. We all have that. We always say like, oh, don't act like... That's not, oh, they're kids. You were a kid. You were a kid. Yeah. I was a kid.
Yeah.
And you learn more from thinking about your childhood days because you remember what it was like.
That purity, man.
That purity, man. Yeah. I always post it. And not to plug my own shit, but I always post, purify the world we live in. I'm not blowing smoke. I'm saying that because I have the privilege to see kids teach me what it is to live, what it means to actually live. With that said, I know you ain't that much into social media. But if you want to plug away any projects or any channels that you want to shed light on or talk about, go for it.
No, I mean, I have a lot of projects coming out. I think
We didn't even talk about all of that, so my bad, bro.
It's all good. It's all good. I think the reason is because what you're talking about is it's something that really illuminates, and it's something that really brings attention, and it's something that, you know, people are passionate about, individually are passionate about, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with talking about that. I think a lot of what you mentioned towards the tail end right now, you know, talking about the bond between humans, you know, and again, someone saying don't act like a kid, that's again operating off a conclusion that they're holding so dear.
Don't have conclusions.
You know,
that's one of the things.
And it's like, why not have that freedom that you did when you had a kid? Why not have that purity and that supreme liberty and that clean surface to be able to create and produce? Like, why not? And why are we so quick to judge someone else if they operate off of that? Let them do that. And like you said, I think it's really good because we do live in an environment where there's a lot of prejudice, where there's a lot of sexism. There's a lot of ageism. Ageism is a big one, right? It's like
but it's all taught.
It's all taught, and it's like, hey, look, it's all taught, and it's like, I think it's great that you're able to understand and feel that you're learning something, or you're becoming reacquainted with something that you already knew from something that you may seem is unexpected. But I think as people, we learn. You're going to learn, like, people are like, oh, well, I'm not going to go there because it's a bunch of 40-year-olds. Or the other side, I'm not going to go there because it's a bunch of teenagers.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to learn from that 20-year-old. You're going to learn from that 30-year-old. You're going to learn from that 60-year-old, 70-year-old. We can't be ageist. It's just not going to work. You're not going to grow. I believe that everyone has wisdom and everyone has nuggets that we can absorb off of. And we owe it to ourselves and the just progression of humanity to do that.
Absolutely, man. Don't jump to conclusions. Okay, that was something that dawned on me myself because I was suffering from that for a long time. I was looking at a lot of things through one lane, right? And you know what lane I'm talking about. but I opened that lane, because it's not about the lane. It's about looking at the world through many lenses, and understanding that honestly they're not that different. Because again, all these lenses we put on our eyes because we are trying to say, oh, this is a community, right? And the problem with thinking only in like you said earlier, clicks and stuff, like that's kind of what it is. When we only think in these writings from this religion has always said this, and so we've been telling you guys this whole time. You've lost the point. You've lost those people that you just talked to. Because now you're saying your way is better than the other way. And it's not about any of that. Because religion was also brought through teachings. And I'm not against religion. Don't twist my words. All I'm saying is, if you want to practice Islam, more power to you. If it's for you and it makes you happy and it makes you live your best life, do it. Do you, boo? and any religion, Islam, Baha'i, Christianity, Zoroastrianism, Judaism, hell, anything that
Jesuit,
yeah, any religion you want to practice, as long as you're not forcing someone else or you're not hurting other people to do it the way you're doing it, that's when it's no longer pure. If it's about you and only about what truly makes you happy, then go with it. It's not about that. It's about being human first. That's really what it's about. That's the real religion, is we're all humans first. And any final thoughts on it before we wrap it up?
Yeah, that filter you were mentioning, like that filter of distortion that we may not know we have. I mean, even simple examples, like I come in, first thing you're telling me is like, oh, sorry for the mess. Sorry. What mess?
Yeah.
Right? As humans, back to that human relationship, we need to talk each other up.
That's true.
Talk each other's realities, objective realities.
Yes.
There is no mess in here. I can eat off the floor right now and I will not get any germs, right? like this is, I'm being for real, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's just one way. We went into the garage. You were like, hey, I'm like, yeah, that's a classic. Like, I'm appreciating the car, right?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, classic garage, classic sloppy garage,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, you're talking yourself down.
No, you're right, bro.
And I think it's those limitations where it's not only I'm trying to redirect how you're talking, that self-talk, but more so I'm giving you my reality.
Yeah.
I'm appreciating this, right?
God damn it, you're right. It's self-love, man. Self-love. Love yourselves, man. What's funny is I talk about that to my peers, you know, when I sense them doing that.
Yeah.
But I forget it, right? And we all do this shit. We do it. And you got to love yourself before you can love other people, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I appreciate you letting me know that and reminding me, because it's true.
And I'm only giving you my reality.
Right.
You know, like I'm giving you my reality.
Yeah.
Like it's more than just like a, you know, like high five or like, I'm giving you like genuinely what I feel like.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. Like, you know, why do we, like, what you said about feeling better? Why do we link up with other people? Why do we have packs? Why do we get together? It's that congregation, that positivity, that upward momentum.
That's right.
That really, you know, takes off. You know?
So true, man. So true. So on that note, Tannin, man, you're a real one. I appreciate you coming out. Episode 84. If you don't want to give away your Instagram, or you're good?
No, I'm good. No, run it. My Instagram is Escapade Season.
Yeah, you're mostly on there, right?
Yeah, I'm on there. I'm very new to this whole IG world.
Yeah.
So you know, like I said, don't judge me if I don't have AirPods, if I can't hear, if I don't have Apple Watch on, you know, don't.
But there it is, man.
Don't cast the judgment.
Hey, don't even. Yeah, now you're doing it.
Yeah. Escapade Season, but you feel free to reach out to me on any platform, really.
Is it Escapade Season across the board?
Escapade Season across the board. For now, that is.
Okay.
And I really appreciate you for doing this. For
man.
setting this up, you know.
Absolutely, man. No, I appreciate you driving out here,
man. It means a lot.
By the way, for those of you who are not in Cali or in NorCal at least, and not know the distance, you drove from where?
Where did I drive from? Today was Concord. So,
okay, so yeah.
Inner East Bay.
East Bay. Yeah. He drove out here. That's about an hour and a half to 2 hours usually, depending on traffic, and sometimes there's a lot. But I appreciate you coming on. This is episode 84 with my main guy, Tannin.
Cheers.
Thank you, man. And he says cheers because he lived in England. That's why.
There you go. It's rubbed off.
Yeah, it's great. I'm pHumblepodcast on all platforms, as you know. pHumblepodcast, give it a super like, subscribe. Let's change the world together, people. It's all love, man. At the end of the day, all we have is love. One humankind. See you guys next time.
Peace out.
They deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown.